it's inconsistent. It's like all over the place. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it comes back. I went and did a thing, bought my first basket case BMW, first BMW ever. Interesting story behind this car was that 2 days ago, I found it on Facebook. It was about 2 hours away from me, was listed for $3,000 with a blown engine. And I was like, you know, for a 2011, it's only got almost 115,000 miles on it. It's like, that's a pretty good deal. You know, I might be interested in that. It's an Xdrive, so it's all-wheel drive. Nice interior. Car looks like it's been taken care of. But I just didn't make it out there, and it sold like immediately. Well, the very next day, I'm looking at Facebook again, and the same car pops up for sale. This time, only 20 minutes away from me. The person that had bought it the day before bought it just for some of the body panels. And when he got it home, he realized it was a different shade of silver gray than his BMW. And so he listed it for $2,200. And so I picked it up. I got out there as soon as I could and snagged it. We'll see. It's supposed to have a blown engine. I don't believe that's the case. When I showed up at the guy's house, it was already running, but it was making a wicked rattle, not really consistent noise out of the top end. He thought lifters, but I'm not so sure about that. A little bit of research tells me that it could be, if I'm really lucky, the solenoid valves that control the variable valve timing. There's one for the exhaust and one for the intake. And I just sent my father out to go pick some of them up. He's my neighbor. He's got nothing better to do. Send him on a trip. I don't think that's going to fix it, but I know these ones are likely bad. It could also be the cam gears themselves, where they're adjustable. Maybe those need to be replaced. But I figured even if I had to put like $2,000 engine in it, the car's worth it. So let's check it out. I'll show you a bit more about it. Now it's pretty dirty. I had just started rinsing it off. It's covered in pollen. And then I was like, oh, I wanted to make a video of it when it was really dirty before I clean it up. So I started rinsing it. It's in nice shape. Nothing wrong with the body. There's no rust on the car at all that I have found. Underneath is super clean. I live in the Northeast. I live on dirt roads, so cars like this in this kind of shape are unusual around here. So just give you a little walk around. It's got the sunroof. Like I said, it's the Xdrive. If anybody knows anything about these cars, chime in if you see this video. If I don't fix it before then, but even still. Another issue I had with the car. So like I said, it was running when I showed up at the guy's house. And then all of a sudden it just shut off. And then it wouldn't restart. It was doing a really slow crank. It cranked maybe one revolution, and then that was it. I got it home, even with a booster on it, it still wouldn't start. I left a battery charger on it overnight, but I don't think the battery is actually bad. I think that what might be going on is there's a ground cable on the driver's side underneath the engine from the body to the transmission, I think. I think that's probably bad. So I'm going to probably look at that and see. So now that the camera's on, it probably won't even start, but let's try it in just a second here. Like I said, interior, everything's all nice. You know, typical little wear in the seat. Not even really wear, just the cushion. See if I can figure out how to unlock all the doors. I'm not sure I even know how from here. Let's try the key fob. That seemed to work. So back, you know, it's like brand new back here, really. People that had it before kept it really clean. It's a clean title. It's not salvaged or anything. Seems like a pretty nice car. Like I said, I'm okay with putting an engine in this car if it needs it, because it's worth somewhere around $8,000 to $12,000 as it sits, you know, if it had a good engine in it. I'd probably try to get like $6,500 for it and be happy with, you know, $1,500 profit or so. But anyways, let's see if it'll actually start. Helps you put the key in there. Weird little BMW setup with the cartridge. Does have an airbag light on. It says it's for the passenger side. I don't really know. I haven't even cared to look at it yet. We'll just see if it starts. Hey, it started up. So the sound, it almost sounds like a piston hitting the head, like it was a bottom end bearing. I can tell by, it's inconsistent. It's like all over the place. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it comes back. To me, it actually sounds like it's coming from towards the back of the engine. I may pull the valve cover and see what's going on there, but let me just shut this thing off. I'll show you a couple other things that are interesting. Oh, and the AC even works, so that's pretty cool. So I don't think it's bottom end. It could be that there's something wrong in the Vano system up at the top end. I don't know. But like I said, I'm going to dig into it, play around with it and see. But right here is where the solenoids are located for the intake and exhaust adjustable cam gears. So there's cam gears in here that, depending on how much oil flow goes to them, they can adjust so that the car can change the timing based on what you're doing with the car, whether you're idling or whatever. And right now the idle is all over the place on this. That could be coincidence because of the sound. It could be like a knock sensor is doing something, but I can tell by looking at these, those look like they could be original. The car's got almost 115,000 miles on it, and those shouldn't be original. Those should have been replaced at like 50,000 miles, maybe 70,000 miles. But so they should have been replaced at least once, and I don't know if they have been. Another thing that's extremely interesting, though, is somebody put brand new bolts on the alternator. So when I looked at the car, it was making like a real whistling sound, and I thought that might actually be the alternator seizing up. And then when I couldn't start the car after it shut off, I thought, okay, maybe it's the alternator seized up. And I popped the belt off it last night, but that didn't, like I checked the alternator, it spun free, all the pulleys felt good. So that didn't seem to be the problem, but I still think it's possible there's something wrong with this alternator. And somebody had maybe had it off and then lost the bolts. I don't really know why those would be brand new bolts. I can't imagine that you're supposed to put new ones on, but the alternator is not new, so I don't get it. So anyways, this is the car. This is what I'm working on, and stay tuned because I'm about to clean it up because I like to wash things and see what I actually brought home. I'm gonna get it all clean, and then later on this evening, in no time to you, I'm gonna change out those valves. And then if it's still making a racket, which I expect it probably will, it'll probably run better, but still make noise, I may pull the valve cover and see what we have going on. But stay tuned, about to get clean. Got it all cleaned up. I got the parts I need. Let's see if it will start one more time to make it up to the garage. But cleaned up really good. I haven't cleaned the interior, but the paint job looks awesome on this. Cup holders, whatever they are, they don't open. That one does. Key cartridge. Come on, start. Oh yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna take you for a little ride up to the garage in this thing. See if it makes it. explain a couple things I'm going to be changing. So it does have navigation and stuff. It's got the iDrive unit, I guess. Done a ton of research on this since I've picked it up. No backup camera. It's not surprising. So another thing I found out while I was waiting for my father to get back with parts and doing a little bit of research is that whirling sound or whistling sound that I heard was probably the oil filter. I watched a kid on YouTube explaining that he had that problem, and so I checked mine, and I have a cheap, basically collapsed oil filter. So I had my father pick up a MAN oil filter while he was out there. So we're gonna change that. A hope is that possibly the ticking sound could be like a collapsed lifter from having really low oil pressure, but that's like wishful thinking. But I'm gonna change the oil. I'm going to put in those 2 new valves and just see what it does. I also found out some other stuff, that this particular car had a recall on it for the Vanos adjustable timing, the system on it. I think the actual pulleys having cracked bolts and breaking bolts, and they end up in the oil pan. And so, yeah, that could be what some of that noise is as well. I don't hear it at all right now in the car while there's a strain on it. And it's running great, actually. But let's get the oil changed, get those valves in, go from there. Oh yeah, and nice cold AC too. So far it seems like a really nice car. Right, I was saying earlier that there's a ground wire that corrodes. See that green-blue wire right there? That's it. I think that is probably the root of my slow start issue, even though since I fully charged the battery overnight, it's been starting just fine. I don't have a lot of faith in it, and so I'll probably look into that too and see if that's something I can repair. It's definitely pretty green. It also doesn't look like it's fun to get to, but we'll see. All right, oil is draining. Hey, buddy. So one thing I want to show you though is I had checked this oil filter when it was in the driveway, and I didn't wait long enough after I loosened it to let it drain back, and so it spilled. And so I had already inspected the filter. I'm like, yeah, this filter is trash. It's not the correct, type for this car, and just put it back together. Well, apparently I didn't check and make sure the O-ring sealed correctly, so I made a mess. Sprayed oil on the way here. Not a big deal. I'm gonna take that off in just a second. Well, a minute ago I thought I was recording and I wasn't, but so I got this all apart. Got a new O-ring on here, correct filter in here. You have to reuse your relief valve assembly or bypass valve or whatever you want to call it. This kit also comes with a new crush washer for the drain plug, so that's cool. And I'm just going to go and put this back together. Of course, you're supposed to torque this to a certain spec, and it even has the spec written on it. It is 25 plus 5 Nm. I'm an American. I don't really know what that means. I think it's Newton meters. I don't know. We're going to go tight. So push, don't pull. And then pull off the connector. If you can get your fingers on it. Ah, got it. It's a little bit hard one-handed, especially hard one-handed, trying to hold my my phone to record at the same time. Let me grab my 10mm socket. I'm gonna try to take this out with just a 1/4" drive ratchet. It's just a 10mm bolt, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Okay, get that crack loose. All right, try to put that somewhere where you won't drop it. Turning it a little bit. I don't know if it's necessary to turn it, but let's see if I can pop it out of there. There we go. That is very clean looking to me. Supposedly, if they're bad, they'll be all sorts of gummed up. That doesn't look gummed up. Anyways, let's drop that in my oil filter collection. Let me open up a new one and we'll slap it in and we'll get the other one out. All right, oil's all changed. I just put like 5 quarts in it. Can't check it. You have to like just put the right amount in, but I know I took more than 5 quarts out, so I didn't overfill it, unless it was over full before. Filter's all in. Those new variable timing control solenoid valves are in. Let's see if it starts. Like I said before, I don't expect this to fix the car, but it's worth a shot. And I also wouldn't be surprised if it won't start because of that ground cable that was under there. I kind of wiggled it around a little bit and it's definitely junk. I need to replace that. But I wonder if I might have made it worse by wiggling it around. We'll see. Such an odd sound. It comes and goes. Well, we'll see. I think I'm probably going to pull the valve cover. But for now, I'm going to take it down to the house and wash it because there's oil burning off it and it stinks. So I'm just going to clean that up. And then maybe I'll take it for a quick drive and just see what happens. It is running better though. It did need those valves, I'm pretty sure. I have a Bluetooth scanner right in my pocket and I never even bothered to plug it in. So I'll check that too. But yeah, that noise. Funky. All right, I came back out last night, decided to take the valve cover off. It took about an hour and a half or so, never doing one before. The worst part was trying to get it up high enough to get it off these tubes with, with all this stuff being in the way. I might try to make more room when I put it back together because that was kind of a pain. But anyways, you can see something here. I expected the way it sounded to find like one of the followers is off or something just clearly wrong up here with the way it sounded. But you're probably not going to be surprised to find out it is a rod. I have no doubt in my mind that it's a rod bearing. Probably more than one, probably at least 2 or 3 rod bearings, which is really weird. I also figured out that this is an N91, not an N92. The only difference is really the N91 is more of an emission friendly one. There's a couple different designs, but anyways, it's an N91. So I came out today after work, decided to cut the oil filter in half and expand it and really have a look, and immediately knew what's going on here. Look at all that metal. So this leaves zero doubt to me that it's a rod bearing or multiple rod bearings. And so because of that, I'm not going to fix this engine. I've dealt with spun rods before. It's not worth it. I shouldn't say it's not worth it, but for me, for this car, it's not worth it. I have a couple spots I can pick up an engine. There's somebody with a complete car that's wrecked, 2009. On Facebook, I'm gonna see if I can make a good deal with him, because I don't really care about the car. So I'll give him, you know, basically what the engine's gonna cost. And if he'll take that, then I'll probably grab that. It's only an 83,000 miles. It's a 2009. And I have to find out if it's an N91 or an N92. Here's how you can tell. Right here where it says California and then it says SULEV, that S stands for it being an N91. I don't remember exactly what the acronyms were, but if this was an N92, it would just be ULEV without the S. And it probably wouldn't say California. I'm not sure about that, but so to be continued. I am still fixing this car. When I bought it, I expected to put an engine in it. You know, there's always the high hopes that maybe you won't have to, but it needs one. So stay tuned. Next video or one shortly after that, depending on what I'm up to, we will see some updates. Thanks for watching.